So yeah, the next steps was I actually had my roommate from dental school. He had graduated. He was working at a different corporate office or DSO in Georgia, and he wasn't doing so well. Like I think he was like a third or fourth doctor there, and it just wasn't growing. And then I told him, hey, why wouldn't you just do the same thing I did? And for him, it was like, hey, I don't know anything. Well, it's a funny story now because I remember telling him, well, you'll know at least a year more than I did at that same point in time because I will consult you through the process. I won't let you make the same mistakes.
That's
So
awesome.
believe it or not, he was our first client. We were a consulting, quote unquote. I use this in parentheses because I don't know how good we were at the time, but we were a consulting firm and he was our first client. And, we kind of handpicked his practice to make sure it wasn't the wrong one. And he bought that practice. It grew, I think, $200,000 every year for the first couple of years. I think it was doing like 700, then like 9 and 1 point whatever. And and because he had the same debt situation that I did, that kind of started our journey. Then I purchased a second practice, and that's when the real growth started happening. Because I always tell people it's one thing to run your own practice while you're there. It turns into running a business when you're no longer there.
Yeah.
Right. And so to learn how to, graduate from being a practice owner to a business owner is when you really step away and see if your systems start working. And if were you the reason behind it all, or was it your systems?
Yeah.
And so we purchased a second practice where I've never actually practiced in. And I wanted to see if we could grow it organically just through our systems, same team. And then that practice grew, fast forward a couple of years. We bought a couple more practices. Me and Dr. Ravi, who was our first consulting client, combined forces with the consulting firm that I had, turned it into a management team, and that created our DSO that exists today. And right now
That's
we
so
have about
cool.
five practices. So